Hey everybody, this is Pastor Dustin recording for TeenNerdChurch.com, and as you can see I opened up on the actual page just in case you've never seen it before. If you just watched the videos from some other site, come over here and check it out. I'm going to be putting a draft up soon, but first I wanted to give a brief tournament report. I just got back from SGC Columbus, and I started out reasonably strong. My first round was up against one of the guys that top-8'd at last year's SGC Columbus event, and it was a pretty good matchup for me. I got through. He was a really nice guy. I was sorry to beat him 2-0. For his sake, I was pretty happy for mine. And then in the second round, I ran into somebody that I knew from a shop way down in Cincinnati, at least a decade ago. And at first we didn't really recognize each other, but finally it came out. So we had a good time, and I ended up losing that round, which was sad to start 1-1. But something that I learned from that is that if you have a couple of Rabblemaster tokens, which he had, just laying around on the board, and you've got a couple of kill spells for him, actually consider using those cards for the tokens. It doesn't really seem like it's worth it because it's a card that you have and it's just a token that they got off of something else, but those little guys beat me down for 12 points of damage, and if I would have wasted 2 cards on them early on, I think I would have actually won that round and gone on to be 2-0. So anyway, I took that knowledge and I went on to the next round where I actually won the game because I had 2 errant Rabblemaster tokens. He killed my Rabblemaster. He actually, unfortunately, played an Anger of the Gods as though it was a land, so I knew it was in his hand. And he could have angered, but those guys got in, I think it was like 8 or 10 points of damage, and then I just burned him out for the rest. So the lesson learned from this is a couple extra tokens from a Rabblemaster or Cat King or whatever. Just because you don't get value doesn't mean that it's not wise to use a card or 2 to kill them. So watch out for those tokens in this format. They're pretty important. Anyway, I went on to go 3-1. I was doing pretty well. The 5th round I went up against white, blue, black control, which nobody plays. So I didn't do that well against it. I actually retweaked the whole deck once I lost to one of those decks in Friday Night Magic, the blue-black control. And then I looked to see the metagame, and I saw that 2% of people are playing it, so I thought, I'm never going to run up against this. And then, of course, lo and behold, I run up against some sort of variant. So it crushed me. So I dropped to 3-2, and I didn't have a whole lot of hope after that. And when I got to the 3rd round, it was getting pretty late. It was a Saturday. I had to be back in Pierpont to preach on Sunday. And so I said, God, either let me win the rest of the rounds or lose this one, because I got to be getting back if I'm going to lose. So he graciously let me lose that one. Again, to a couple of errant tokens. So, lesson learned, don't let the tokens beat you up. And also, I am 30, I am not 20 like I used to be, so I can't be doing these Saturday night tournaments then driving 3 hours to get back home to preach the next morning. So anyway, there's my tournament report. I had a good time. I played a lot of fun people, so if I met you there and you're checking out the site, thanks for playing with me. And now we will get into the draft. Alright, here we go. I've got Grim Harspecs, Chief of the Scale, which is pretty good. I'm going to reserve that one now, as I'm looking through the rest. Ride Down is strong removal. Timely Hormate can be good in the right deck. Barrage of Boulders can finish out a game if you build to it. Disdainful Stroke is fine, not a first pick. Got a basic Swamp down there, which is pretty awesome. I don't know, I'm tempted to go Chief of the Scale. I've also got this rare here. There we go, I've opened up that panel. I think that the rare is unique enough and pretty strong. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, draw a card. That's something that I'm interested in picking up. So we're going to start there. Just stay one color for now. Get the Harspec. Okay. To go with black, we've got the Mardu Skull Hunter, which is pretty sweet. It is a 2-for-1 as long as you can get an attack in. It would go pretty well with the Hate Blade or the Ruthless Ripper. Let's see, what else is there? There's a decent morph, a land to go along with things, but there's not a whole lot else here that I'm that impressed with. I mean, Leaping Master's fine if you're going to go for an aggressive deck, but that's kind of 1.5 colors that could end up going with our black card. But I think for now I'm just going to go with the Skull Hunter. We've got a Warrior there. A Wizard here doesn't necessarily go with the Warrior's deck, but I think this is just the strongest card. Other than the Bond, I didn't see that before. Well, I like the Bondkin a lot, but I'm gonna stay in black for now. If I end up in white later, I'll probably regret that. But I'm going to go ahead and pick up the Skull Hunter. Alright, we've got Howl the Horde, which I would like to do something with, but it's probably a little earlier here. We've got a pretty nice Outlast creature here, and it's in black. We've only got the one warrior, so the Raider Spoils isn't great yet. We could always pick it up and try to build toward it. If we wanted to be in black and green, we could try to go Abzan. Roar the Challenge is very strong in that deck. Got a Tamer Charm, no black in there, so I don't think I want to pick that up. Unyielding Krumar. I really like this card a lot more than most people do, but I'm going to take the fact that other people don't like it as much as a sign that maybe I should be staying off of it. So right now I'm going to pick up the Nightblade. It's a solid 2/3 with the cheap Outlast cost, with the possibility of moving into Abzan later where I get that +1/+1 theme going. And there's another one. So we'll reserve him. What else is there? Watcher the Roost is solid, but we don't have the white yet to be able to flip him. The Abomination is pretty good if you end up in those colors. Bug, I forget what it's actually called. But it's fine, it'll probably go around. Nothing else outside of black that I'm just absolutely thrilled with. So I think I'm just going to stay black. It seems like it's probably pretty rare to go 4th pick into this and only be in a single color. Alright, so we've got 2s, 3s, and 4s. Oh, we do have Death Frenzy, which is pretty strong. All creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. Now that does take out my Skull Hunter, but I've got a bunch of, well, also takes out the Harspec. But I've got a couple other ones that might be able to outlast that. So we've got the Death Frenzy as a possibility. Bitter Revelation is a strong card, especially for a more controlling deck. And then there's also Throttle. I'm a sucker for removal, and so I'm leaning towards Throttle right now because I don't have any straight up removal at the moment. So I think I'm going to go with that. There's a good chance it's a mistake. Let me know in the comments if I should have picked Death Frenzy or the Bitter Revelation over it. But for right now, I'm pretty happy just to stick with Mono Black. And speaking of Mono Black, I've got a fine black card here. Reserve this, and it grows every time you kill something. I've got some Outlast guys here. It should be able to take things down, as well as one removal spell. The Harspecs should be able to kill things, especially as a surprise. So that makes the Swarm of Bloodflies pretty good here. Other than that, I've got the Rug creature, which doesn't fit at all. Barrage, which is fine, but I don't need to get into that. Weave Fate's okay. I think what I really just need to be doing here is sticking them Mono Black. So I'm going to get the Swarm of Bloodflies. Okay, sticking with this Mono Black plan, I've got the Bloodsucker. Whenever a creature you control with toughness 4 or greater dies, you get to drain life for 2. And you can sack a creature to give this guy +1/+1. So I don't have anybody with a toughness of 4, but I do have the Harspec, and that's kind of an interesting combination, especially if you've got stuff like the Skull Hunter that you already got value off of. It's a 3-drop, which I could use a little bit more of at the moment. So I think that's the direction I'm going here. Now I don't think that I have much of a warrior theme going. Okay, I finally ran out of black. I'm going to have to find some sort of thing to possibly splash into. Well, I've got one flying creature, so maybe Windstorm's a sideboard card. Goblin Slide doesn't look like it's doing much. I have mostly creatures at the moment. Yeah, I just don't see anything here that I like that much. So I'm just going to go with a sideboard card. The Windstorm. Okay, here again, I don't have anything black to choose from. Alright, keep the current color scheme. Don't bug me. There we go. Okay, so I've got Feed the Clan in case I go up against some super aggressive deck. I don't really even have anything to trigger Ferocious with. Probably just take Barrage of Boulders out of there so I don't get blitzed out by that. What's that, or Jeskai Student? Well, looks like I took the Barrage. Okay, here I feel like this is a pretty easy hate blade. The activation is already in black. May end up going for it. It is a warrior. I don't think I have enough in the warrior camp to be able to do anything. Go ahead and take this. I don't have anything that needs cards in the graveyard quite yet. Anyway, 1 warrior, 2 warriors. I think that's probably it. There's these guys. Yeah, I don't see the warrior thing happening. But Rashas's secret could be a thing. We'll have to see later. Here I will just take the creature. There's a possibility I end up going Abzan. So I'll put that in the sideboard for now in case I would want to play one. Okay. So we got 9 decent cards to start things off. Almost mono black. So I can either stick there and have the most consistent mana in the entire draft, or, ooh, hey, that's pretty big. I think I just found a reason for cards in my graveyard. I've got the Necropolis Fiend, which, kind of fights against itself. You can either cast it early or have it kill something, but either way, a 4/5 flyer is not a terrible thing to have. I've got another Death Frenzy to offer. There's nothing else in black that even comes close to the Necropolis Fiend. So I'm going to take this. Not quite sure what I want to spin, but I feel like this one is a straightforward pick. Grab myself the rare. Okay, here I've got a Shambling Intendant. It's just in black. It's not that wonderful. Let's see, what else do we have? If we wanted to go white, we have Alabaster Kieran. I feel like that's better as a possibility than the Shambling Attendants, especially since this one's pretty greedy on the delve. Let's see, white and black. That's about it. I don't see anything else that's super strong. Well, we've got this for Bug, but we're maybe not even going white-black yet, so I don't want to say that we're going to go into blue and green as well. Yeah, I just don't see anything else here. I'm going to take the Kieran. I may or may not make the deck. Just depends on if we're going to go white. We've got Dead Drop here. I know that's also going to fight with my other Delve card, but I feel like I can have 2 heavy Delve cards and leave it at that and be pretty happy. Coming back around, I hope that I can get the dual land. If not, there's a Smite the Monsters here, which would be excellent. The Krumar's pretty good. Sidisi's Pet's okay. So I should probably get something that is not the Meandering Turtle. So we'll stick with the Dead Drop for now. I'm doing a lot better on actually having creatures than I usually do. Usually I pick removal so high in the order that I'm struggling for creatures by the end. But we've got a decent amount of creatures so far. 9 and 3. If we were to cut the white out completely, we would be dealing with 10 cards. Okay. So there is a Sultai Charm, pretty high in the power level, but not going to be in the colors. Ponyback Brigade might make it if we end up going Mardu. But I think that the Rite of the Serpent is, again, just going to be the most consistent. It's not the best removal spell in the world, but it is unconditional. So that's going to be my pick. Coming back around, I suppose I'd probably be looking for the Sage Eye Harrier. So we'll pick up Rite of the Serpent. Okay, wow, that's still in here, huh? Okay, well, it's way outside my colors, so I'm probably not going to play it. But there's really not anything else here. The Rotting Mastodon's okay. There's nothing in white. There's nothing in red. I want to go Mardu so much that I'm going to leave the Vizier out. This thing can just get huge. So, I hate to do it this early in the pick order, but I'm actually just going to hate draft out this Cat Demon. So, get in my sideboard. I didn't really want any of those other picks anyway. Okay. So here we have another Hate Blade, which is strong, or another Kieran, which is probably stronger. Though I am a little heavy on my curve right now. I'm going to reserve this one. So what do you guys think is better, the Kieran or the Hateblade? Particularly at this point in the draft, because I've only got two 1 and 2 drops, one of each. When I start to get into the 3s. It might be more responsible to pick up the Hateblade at this point. Yeah, I think because my curve is a little high, I need the Hateblade. I kind of wish that I could have the Kieran, but the Hateblade it will be. I'll get 2 of those. Okay, now I see no options in white whatsoever, and a Bitter Revelation. So that looks like it's going to be the pick. It's going to get my 4 drops up to 4. So I might want to start to ease up on those a little bit. But other than that, there's just nothing for me. War Shrieker would be fine if I was in red, but you don't want to splash red to get fixing in red. So I'm going to get that Bitter Revelation. It is a fine card. Man, the Abzan Charm is this late, huh? Okay, I'm going to reserve that. Especially, well, there's a possibility of Assault Road Patrol. But the Abzan Charm is really strong. It can take down a creature that matters, or it can distribute 1/1 tokens, which is something I would like to do with these 2 Outlast guys. So I think rather than take the Assault Road Patrol, which I would definitely play, I'm going to take the Abzan Charm, which I might play. So definitely be on the splash, if I get there. And speaking of on the splash, I should start picking up some land. Even better if I had a little bit of green in there. But this will allow me to cut down on my main lands. Now coming around here, I just don't see much at all. So I guess it'll be a naturalize into the sideboard. If I do end up splashing green, it'll be nice. Here I get myself another dual land with your picks. It's nice to see those going so late. It means that white-black is still open. Here I end up getting a card in color. The Shambling Attendants. 2 heavy green, even though it's a 6-drop. If I splash green, I'm probably still not going to have 2 black sources by 6. Up to Treason's pretty decent. It's going kind of late. I'll pick up my 3rd Delve card and hope to stay away from the rest of them. Fire of Cavalry. If I was in red, I'd probably get it, but instead I'm just going to get yet another naturalize on my sideboard. Alright, throw the scheming in the board, and the plains. Okay, so we've got 17 in the main deck if you don't count the lands, so we're in a decent position going into the 3rd pack. I do want to fill out my earlier drops. I'm going to Mind Swipe, Bear's Companion, Raider Spoils. I still don't really have enough warriors for the Raider Spoils. I think I still only have the 3. I think everybody else in my high end is much lower than that. There's a Kill Shot, that's decent. Let's see, I think I'll reserve the Kill Shot for now. I'm just not seeing anything else in white or black that really strikes my fancy. Look at the Krumar. That's, like I said before, I am a removal junkie. So I'm probably just going to stick with this Kill Shot. Coming back around, I hope that I get the Krumar. And pick it up. Okay. Oh, we got a Falconer in this one. Tri-lands, but it's pretty much the worst one that I could possibly see. So this gives everybody flying. It only costs 1, which is really nice, and it goes along with the charm. So with the boon, but I still don't have enough green to justify just splashing a charm. So yeah, I think that the pretty clear pick right here is to get the Falconer. It gives me 3 Outlast guys, which is pretty good. So we'll pick up that Falconer, hoping to see, I don't know, maybe Boon, Riding Mastodon. There's really not a whole lot here for me in this pack. So yeah, I'll just pick up the Falconer. That'll probably be the last card that I see out of that pack that's playable. Speaking of Outlast, though, I do have a Disowned Ancestor, which is nice in the early part of my curve. Rush of Battle, non-warriors there. Harrier's decent. Probably not better than the Disowned Ancestor, though. especially since I still need a little bit of my early curve here. I've got plenty in the center, and then it slowly lines out. Nothing good enough in green to really justify picking up another green card, so I will just start with the early warriors. Actually, it's nice to have that many warriors on the beginning, because they might put me on a really aggressive warrior plan, and then I can slow it down a little bit. Okay, I've got a nomad outpost here, and that would be good enough just as a duel for the black and white. There's another kill shot, though. Let's see, which one's better? The second kill shot, or essentially the third Scoured Barrens? Let's see, I've got 20 in the main deck if you don't count that. So I've got time for more cards. I think the kill shot is probably more likely to wheel for me than the Nomad Outpost is. I'm just going to pick that up. I suppose there's also some value in having them wonder what red card I've splashed for when I don't actually have any red. So I'll get the land there. I'll not splash for this red card. Although, the Despise is probably decent. Oh, there is a Mardu Horde Chief, though. That guy's good. Pretty heavy on my 3-drops. Okay. So, we're going to do the Mardu Horde Chief. Ended up actually being kind of sub-warriors anyway, without much to do with them. There's no guys to pump them. Could do that, or the Despise. I think I'm going to go Despise. I know most people are probably going to disagree with me on this one, but I do already have a fair amount of 3-drops. I don't have any 2s, so Despise might be something that I could play onto along with something else. And this takes out bombs in a way that Mardu Horde Chief does not. So I'm going to try the Despise. Okay, got a dual land that I don't really need. Oh, another Skull Hunter. That's probably the pick here. A Morph, which gets pretty decent. Another Morph, which is about the same, but it's colorless. And a Lamassu. I don't think that I want the Lamassu. I've already got a couple of things up on the top end. So I am just going to stick with filling out the earlier part of my curve and pick up a Skull Hunter. And with that, I have 22 cards, not counting the land. Ooh, junk in the trunk. That would be 2 decent. Okay, well, to make it easier, there's really nothing else in this pack that I would pick over it. So I'm going to pick up the junk in the trunk, knowing that I'm probably not going to play it. We'll see what wheels here. Let's see, I've got an Erase for the board, Assault, Road Patrol, which is pretty nice being another Outlast guy. Yeah, I think that's probably better than the Erase for the board. I'll go Assault, Road Patrol. Got enough Outlast things here to where it makes it pretty good. Banner's no good. Yeah, everything in here seems pretty subpar, so I'm just going to go ahead and get the Mind Rot, because I do have a lot of Delve. Here, probably the Mastodon is the strongest card that I may or may not play. CDC's Pet. There's a possibility that sees play. As Banner, if I do end up going as Ban. Abzan, sorry. Dyslexic. Take away the Hexproof guy. Magical card, and the land. Okay. Well, let's get to building this thing. Okay, so right now we have 30 cards, only 27 if you don't count the land. So we're trying to get it down to 23, maybe 22. So let's start by seeing if we can cut 4 cards out of this. The banners, of course, aren't that good, but if I'm going to play the Abzan stuff, the banners are going to go. So, let's make sure that these are all together, because if I'm going to cut 4, then these 3 would probably go with the lot. Okay, so if I were to cut those, not the dead drop, it just happens to be in that pile, I feel like the weakest other card on my deck would be the Rotting Mastodon. So if we were to cut the 4 of these out, we'd be down to 26 cards, take away these 3, and 23, so we would have a deck. And so plan A is to not go Abzan, and to cut the Charm, Junk in the Trunk, Abzan Banner, or Abzaner, as I've been calling it. So plan B would be to cut the other 3 weakest cards, along with Rotting. Okay, let's just go ahead and get the Mastodon out of here. Let's leave it in any case. So he's out. The other plan would be to cut the other 3 weakest cards in here. So what would that be? Probably I would cut a Shambling Attendants, just because the Delve messes with my 2 other Delve cards. I like the rest of it a fair bit, so I suppose if I cut the Shambling Attendants, then I would also want to take out the Rashasa's Secrets. So instead of trying to set up more Delve, I could be getting a little bit more action in. I still do want to set up my other Delve cards, and so I do kind of like these in the deck. But it seems like I either cut this group of folks or this group right here. So these are obviously more powerful, but require me to splash green. Both of them can wait. It's not like I have to hit this on 3. I would like to hit that on 5. Both of them require me to cut 1 creature, so there's no real difference there in the creature count. I've got some pretty cool synergy here with the Skull Hunters hitting them for a card on turn 2, and then the Secrets hitting them on turn 3, so that would be 3 cards, which would really just rip up their game plan. So I like the Secrets in this deck more than I would like things. Okay, I think I'm gonna sacrifice the power of the Charm and the Junk in the Trunk, which they're good. They really are. Especially I think the Charm is probably the best because it could lead to some blowouts with all of the Outlast stuff. But I'm going to try to sacrifice it for the mana consistency. If it looks like the Charm and the Elephant would really be beneficial in a particular matchup that I'm in, especially, if they've got a whole bunch of artifacts and enchantments and flying creatures, then I could go into more of an Abzan plan. But for now, I'm just going to stick with white and black. Ask Moto to recommend some basics for me. 10-4. No, not 10-4, good buddy. Let's come up with something that's a little heavier on the plains, because I have 2 early drops here. Now I'd hate to have the Blade and not be able to cast it, so I think I gotta up that by at least 1 here. I do have the 3 duels here, so yeah, I'm not worried that I'm not going to come up with the black that I need. So if I've got 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah, 8's pretty reasonable. Okay, so I'm going to add those to the deck, get myself 40, and I will submit it. So I think last time I probably did white-black, although that was more of a warrior theme. So this is white-black, not warriors, so you guys get a taste of that. Alright, well, I will see you in round 1. Alright, here we are, round 1, game 1. I won the die roll.